I went and saw Challengers on its opening night, and oh my god, it was amazing. It was everything I wanted it to be and more. There was a lot of things in it that obviously were done so well, because the guy that directed it, Luca Guadagnino, is the same guy who directed Call Me By Your Name, Bones and all, I want to say as well. And lots of people have been kind of discussing the ways in which he approaches kind of like sex scenes, like intimacy, romance within films, specifically like about young people, and like how he approaches kind of like those types of moments with like young people on screen. And it's been really interesting to see kind of everyone discussing it.
It has been the talk of the town, as they like to say.
The talk of TikTok.
The talk of TikTok. But Zendaya.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Incredible.
Like Queen. But she's been receiving a lot of like weird interviews.
Well, yeah, I saw like a thing about, I think she got asked if, was it something about like, oh, like, is it weird to like kiss your co-star? Because I remember she got asked something about Timothy Chalamet during the June 2 press tour as well. I think it's obviously with like anything that's like intimate on screen or romance or like that type of like sex scenes, obviously nowadays they approach it so differently to how they approached it like 5, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Intimacy coordinators are like a staple on set now.
I know that the director has done loads of films, and like you said, he very much he shows an intimate level of a relationship, and not just like a quick then.
One of the things that he's very good at is like capturing queer relationships in ways that really don't like fetishize the people and fetishize like queer sex and that type of thing. And I think that you can really see that. Obviously, Challengers, like, not like a spoiler for anyone, but there is a lot of kind of just like fluidity among the three main characters, and there's a lot of romance and intimacy between all three of them. And I think it just is portrayed so beautifully. And it's literally, I feel like Challengers is such a good example of how you can make a film so sexy and horny in a really good way without showing sex. Like, because there's no actual, like, proper, you know,
not like
the deed.
Not like Poor Things.
Not like, no, it's not like Poor Things.
Poor
like,
Things was just crazy.
Yeah, and Mark Ruffalo just, like, at it. Yeah, no, and it, like, and I think that Challengers, there's so much tension, but it's nothing to do with the actual even like physical acts.
Yeah.
It's to do with how it's portrayed and the kind of the relationships between all of them and how they treat one another and how they act around one another. It's so impressive. I mean,
would you watch it again?
1,000%. I do really think though it is a cinema film.
I did see some really cool like camera angles. Like one of the shots is like the ball, right?
Oh yeah.
And they're like you see the ball getting back and forth.
Yeah, I was like, did they strap a fucking GoPro to that ball? Like, how did they do those? I know, obviously now I know it's CGI, but like when you're watching it, you know what it really reminds me of, and this is so me being like such a non-cinematic person. You know, in the B movie, when Barry gets stuck to the ball and then they play tennis with him and he's on the ball, it really reminded me of that.
So the whole time you're watching it, you're just thinking,
POV of like, oh my god, there's a bee on there, like POV of being the ball. But it was, yeah, I mean, it was just incredible.
Did you like the fact that there wasn't a lot of sex on screen?
I think I like, because this is another conversation obviously that like's been going around
not in a weird way or anything, just ask him because it's the conversation that's happening.
Yeah, well, do you want to know? I think a lot of people are under the assumption that Gen Z aren't as interested in seeing sex on screen and are even kind of put off by it. Like, there have been so many studies and reports over the past few years where it's been like a majority of people surveyed, of like young people, so between like 18 to 25, have said that they're far less interested in seeing like romantic relationships on screen, and they're more interested in seeing kind of like platonic relationships, friendships, and they don't like the fact that every friendship always turns into like them falling in love.
But these are the same fans that love Sex Ed and Euphoria, right?
But sex education, so this is the thing where I think it's not as black and white as that, like not to like be like a literal like nuanced queen, but I think what it is it's not that Gen Z don't like seeing sex on screen, it's that they don't want to see the same types of sex. Obviously, like we've seen a massive shift from just seeing like heterosexual sex on screen. I think that what we're seeing is like more young people just wanting to see different forms of it, and also like different aspects of like those intimate like moments. Like it doesn't always have to be like rough and ready. Like it can be like those different more like interesting moments, which is something I think Luca does very well.
I mean, he done it really well with Call Me By Your Name.
Call Me By Your Name, yeah.
It's a bit weird,
Call Me By
but
Your
it
Name
was,
just like sits a bit weirdly with
yeah,
me.
it is very weird.
In Call Me By Your Name, even though there are definite issues with it, I think, especially in respect of like how young they make Timothée Chalamet look. And also he's supposed to be like 17 in the film.
But he looks about 12.
He looks even younger than 17. Yeah. He looks about 15. That aside, they do approach sex in a very different way to, like, let's say, like Euphoria.
Yeah.
Which is the kind of other big one that a lot of people have issues with, of it feels like unnecessary sex and unnecessary nudity.
High School is not like that.
There are moments in the show, and this is like quintessential Sam Levinson. Is that his name? Yeah. Who then went on to do The Idol, which got absolutely ripped to shit. Awful. Because they put so much unnecessary like sexualization in there that just is like, they're doing it for the sake of doing it. It's not actually just adding to the plot.
To look cool.
It's not adding to the plot, and it's not like needed. Like sex can be a really important, like, oh my god, I sound like such a fucking film nerd, but such a like important cinematic tool, as they would say.
Yeah. And I think that this director does it really well, because not only does he do that, and like you said, I've not seen the film, but like you said, he really builds the tension. Yeah. And the release of that tension is them on screen in general, just not them having to do whatever they do.
Yeah, it's released in different ways, like in different like things that happen in the film. And it's again like I can't stress enough how good they portray the relationship between Art and Patrick, because they're like, just for context, these are like two best friends. They've known each other since boarding school, like since they were kids, growing up together, tennis partners, like they were doubles partners at one point, very close relationship. And like there are so many moments in the film, like those who have watched it will know, like there's a moment where Patrick is visiting Art at uni, like at college at Stanford.
Classic.
And they get churros to like eat or whatever, and like Art is like got the churros in his hand. He's like going over to Patrick to go and sit next to each other, and they're like at these stools, and Patrick like with his foot like pulls the stool closer to him just as Art is about to sit down. It's so hard to explain if you haven't seen it, but that is the most romantic moment I've seen on screen. It was no, I get it. I get it. The idea of like you're about to sit down with someone and they immediately like pull the stool closer. It was giving, I mean,
was there like
a, it was like that moment. It was like that TikTok moment where like everyone was obsessing over the fact that Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra did that interview together, and at the end he pulls the stool closer. Everyone lost their mind. They were like, Nick Jonas, like romance king of the century, because like that was so romantic.
Do you reckon that was a reference to that?
No, I don't think anyone's referencing
Was there like
Nick
a 2 second
in a film?
You just did.
Not in the film, in like the combo. Wouldn't be like making a film, be like, we have to have Nick Jonas reference in here or it's gonna flop.
No, but I'm just saying, from not exactly the reference of Nick Jonas, but that reference of like how people loved that engagement, and he added it in. But like, was there like a 2 second kind of like pause of them like looking each other in the eye?
No,
there wasn't.
So
they didn't
natural.
Do that. Okay,
that's the thing as well, is like, and the way, and I think that's another thing that we don't see. It's this like, they have a genuine, real male friendship, which is very loving and close, but they also, there are moments in the film where they are very close, and it's just done so well.